Easy. What's it? You miss my hobbies. I from could you mention? The penny being our best in the coin. Minimum sharp or some with you. Hey, Mom. No more bottle by the mic. No, you must come up here. So, come on, not by yes, young shah center, Tenant bread, and papa. No, so, Mokon and Bribema, my snap of you. And you never come up. No, I'm done. So, we top of the car. Man, can you wait up on you? Wish you was a baby. Currency. We took on the currency. I'm so maybe a woman paying me a means in Comoca. Until more mean there and call for washing, they've been wanted fancy. Until I am my translate Kakra, because I ain't a busy young Como fancy. We are my chassis. For the buffalo super from my whatever air comfortable be no conam and some papa.
Our enemies are many, and they stand ready to pounce upon and exploit our every weakness. They play upon our vanities and flatter us in every kind of way. They tell us that this particular person or that particular country has greater or more favorable potentialities than the other. They do not tell us that we should unite, that we are all as good as we are able to make ourselves once we are free.
Don't fucking move on, shoot your fucking ass, bitch. Tase his ass.
Why are you so angry?
I'm angry because it's been going on forever. Enough is enough.
We're waiting for a back. I will, sir. No worries. I will.
Fuck.
He just shot his arm off. We got pulled over on Larpener.
I told him not to reach for it. I told him to get his hand out.
You told him to get his ID, sir, and his driver's license. Oh my God, please don't tell me he's dead. Please don't tell me my boyfriend just went like that.
Keep your hands where they are, please.
Yes, I will, sir. I'll keep my hands where they are. Please don't tell me this, Lord. Please, Jesus, don't tell me that he's gone. Please don't tell me that he's gone. Please, officer, don't tell me that you just did this to him. You shot 4 bullets into him, sir. He was just getting his license and registration, sir.
Mid-20th century is Africa's. This decade is the decade of African independence. Forward then to independence. To independence now. Tomorrow, the United States of Africa.
Akwaba, guys, welcome. Listen, I'm excited. I'm super excited to be back at my favorite place, Gomoa. This is the first place that I came with the previous interview with Edeyao, and I decided that I have to come again because I was getting a lot of information that Edeyao couldn't cover all. So I decided that let me show up today and meet another elder. He's actually, I was just informed that he's the linguist of the village or the town or the community. He's the linguist to the throne or to the chief or to the palace. So I'm very excited to have this conversation with one of our elders and the linguist in this community. I don't even know his name yet, so everything is raw. Okay, this is not made up. Everything is raw. So, open either bubbles in Kakashi.
Yo, maybe OKYEAME ARKOH.
So that's OKYEAME ARKOH for you. OKYEAME ARKOH is a linguist, and he speaks whenever you come to meet the elders or the chiefs in the town. He's the one that you go through. If he doesn't speak to the chief when they sit down, you're not hearing anything. Nothing's coming back to you. So I'm going to have it. I know it's going to be an amazing conversation with OKYEAME ARKOH. So you know how we do it. I'll keep bringing in the translations here and there so that you can also catch on to what we're talking about. OKYEAME ARKOH is it? Monko.
Yahano, Gomoa, I didn't tell me. Ye be Ofi Markesim from Offer
Bojanyo. I said Bojano on you.
Yeah, very able webinar. Or
what above? Oh, okay.
What's that nature there? All the body. Obaha also. Sisi, Mahuma coming. First, and so what could be Waza. Assassin. It's Wasasa. No, what? About yeah, Duma, so a year and a try. Yeah, Duma, Hano, about 2 years. I think him. About the mother,
oh, I didn't tempt me. About the Mazin in him. I don't know, about the Ninfin. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, your group. What are you something better, something? I want something.
I imagine I'm going to. Oh, and what you're off there. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. So that's just a quick rundown from our linguist, and he is making us understand the history or the journey of our the great ancestor that started this whole community, Gomoa ARKOH. It's talking about all the way back to Markesim. Markesim is one of the towns in the central region, or the many cities in the central region. About 45 minutes, basically 45 to an hour from here. And so the great Bojana Payino or start to offend. No, Chichuku. Okay, so I was trying to get a name for the ancestor, that the original person that actually moved and started this whole community. Escaped our linguists a bit, but basically they've come all the way from Markesim, like I said, an hour drive from here, all the way to different parts of the Gomoa district, but they couldn't really find a fertile grounds to farm on. And he was a hunter. And because he went for a long period, even people back home were thinking he had been captured by an animal or something. So if you follow the story I did 2 weeks ago to last week, this is basically affirming some of the stories that our elder Yao also made known to us. So we're going to go back to elder and let him take it away.
So you were quiet. You pay about that. Now, in paying far. Oh no, Oshino quality. Now, so what by to a jar, quite with jar had it. OKYEAME. OKYEAME. Now, there were no, or how walk.
Na pacho na ese na kwai no wa hade. And so my bear mentioned quite bebre. So our elder is saying that the ancestors or the fathers that started this place actually were found themselves in the middle of a forest, But what is happening is that I'm not seeing a lot of forest around. So that's the question I'm trying to ask him to. What happened to the forest? Did we deforest it, or what actually happened?
No. Quite no. Back you couldn't take that.
Into quiet it on. Oh, okay.
Quiet no. Back was so oh, me nada.
Oh, okay.
Quite no. My mom, but not a sort of corner, didn't it? Often. Yeah, I bear them. I was of 7 yen to papa.
Oh, and into quiet not at the home, I was some.
The home. I was some comfort. Yeah, all command. That you will come for back. Oh, wait for me that. Now back also, obviously, and also wait for me. Say, oh, mamma. That was some so that I go from some Mrs. Yadachi,
Okay, so OKYEAME ARKOH is letting us know that I was asking about what happened to the forest, and he's telling me that the forest is still around. I mean, they settled in the middle of it, so there are still a couple of forests around. But what is happening now is that the interest in African spirituality has gone down because of the introduction of Christianity, and almost everybody in the village now is onto Christianity. So African spirituality have been left behind, and also we had traditional priests that, or spiritual priests that were how should I say this, were priests onto the various forests. So you look at the forest as in a host. The forest was literally like a shrine, sort of, and each forest had its own priest that was the spokesperson for the forest and the mouthpiece of the forest and the spirit that existed in the forest, and whenever communication had to be done. But almost all of them are dead, and because the village turned to Christianity, the interest in African spirituality here is actually gone down, and Christianity is what they are all using to see to it that the village or the community develops. I say Ikroma comfort the one
Ikroma the comfort.
So when was the last time when you comfort?
Sir, comfort or come.
How many years?
Oh, 60 years.
Oh wow, 60 years. Wow. So OKYEAME ARKOH is telling me that I asked him if we still have our spiritual priest here in the village, and he said no, there's no priest. When we say traditional priest or spiritual priest, we speaking in the language of Okomfuanoche, the likes, people who were actually and ARKOH. The word ARKOH is basically what we say in English or in the church as prophecy, or being a prophet, the spokesperson, the mouthpiece of whatever deity or being or power that was in that particular settlement. So the past 60 years, there hasn't been any traditional priest or any spiritual priest around this village. Everybody has turned to the church, and we know the church that is thriving in this community is the Methodist Church, as we picked up from the CCR. He said, no walk come na soon be walk and na soon something come.
Oh, na soon woman say, Mama, come now, walk come or friend, Tigari, bosom. no
both more offend together.
No walk up them together until I was some sabano about milk way. Well, Yana Nama no Wabdo, and Anam Wabdo. And say, Yahina Odika by Oyenana for the Sarapia. No, about Dandan was many Mahina, we are charming when I am also. OKYEAME, now was in some of them. They try to cry. Let's say, Obia, and our own quasar, no, be a negative.
Tigare no or trading.
Tigare no. My own watch has a fire there. Oh, yeah, I did. I drew a ground or how another was some. Was there was me.
Abono friend, Abono no small friend Tigare.
No, Tigare.
So, Elder is telling me that at a point in time, the spirituality or African spirituality was dominant in this vicinity. But what happened is that over the period of time, the new chiefs or the kings that came along, what they did was that they started moving away from spirituality, and hence the current king or current chief in the town now has also moved away from spirituality, and they are all in the church. So he is a linguist to the current chief, and he is telling us emphatically that the current chief has nothing to do with our spirituality or the spirituality of our fathers. But when years ago it took dominance, and the spirit that, or the power or the authority or the God that they were ministering to was called Tigare. But no, it's not relevant anymore because everybody is looking the way of the church. Inti, I'm pretty moving there. Inti say a chrome mafonu, which abosum nature na wabodom nyamesum. Sunsan dubi si wo chrome hana in Sunsan.
Oh, what you are Bosomana? Yana Namana or Koyana, Yadi Kodom, I saw no. In fact, Nusus I know today, I'm a Makuru, Sissy, Oguda,
What then when we are so in Pontu Abacrum? Okay. So I'm basically asking is that was there consequences walking away from the spirituality that our fathers had? Do we see any consequences now? And Elder is telling me that there were no real consequences. I mean, since they moved to Christianity, they've seen improvement and progress in this community. So comparing Christianity to the spirituality of our fathers, Christianity is far better in the sense of development and progress of the community. Inti Nihana nanom no wonsum. Wonsum. Inti etumina no so anayam abosum na no wosum na wodi en na anim wani bedu credo mo inti because I kede wo be no is mpuntu rebel cream no chere tam no wosum abosum na mpuntu in Ukraine.
Na mpuntu o mi nchere ababia nwade wosum bosum no mfida bosum I was no yama on no yama on but yana namana was we corner ya ba sha wana na ne fele de fasi bia yin bosum jedi bia yin bosum say bada bosum eja na do ho akodom asor ono bobo wa asin de bosum
Inti aba mpuntu prote ni ebotu maka de assuming yekedi ya mesume chiru no the mean zaman we secret if you abosum some mention the mean zaman we secret.
Okay, Oji abosom sem nature no say ehwo de mpuntu ofano obi oha no abeja asase no abesidan no oha abeja asase no abesidan ni ehwo de sesa aba wa ha sesa aba o ye ta me edo na me sese e to na ba na chema fa
into agezi there so on here yamesum na ekure koze echi na nka ekure ontumpo
well no punto obuta na obutumpo na so on ye there da me bredo ya bredo ya de ho akodo ma so.
So I was asking Elder too, because I still want to understand if some of our fathers walked away from our spirituality and walked into Christianity and embraced Christianity, and Elder is saying that since they've been in Christianity, there's been a lot of progress. I'm trying to understand. So is it that when they were in spirituality, there's no progress, or if spirituality was something that they were still practicing in this community, there would not be progress? That's what I'm trying to find out. But Elder is saying that it helped with our fathers. To them, it was beneficial, it was helpful. That is what brought them into this place. But they realized that it's better to rather walk away from the spirituality of our fathers and walk into the church and be a part of the church and not necessarily waste your time, because since Christianity came, people come and they acquire lands and they build houses and they bring development into the community, and he doesn't necessarily think that it would have been the case if they were just pursuing spirituality. You see, me and the if you be a bosom no call me
You na mo abiodo no na mo mutu kwan ko seremu ko ja abosom bi be hihye na ade na yehwe bosom a wo gaje no wo be sifie no wa ya wa fa nko nti olidi bia wo nwana wo fie no olidi wo ya pa
otherwise
awolenka woye na humara ade another watchere nwana wo fie no de na wanche nti amama baby a wokodia ayiri wono so wonni mo ho a wode ayiri basa bako basa bako nti ayede numbi wa
otherwise in here we be saying otherwise in here. So I just asked Elder that since our fathers went for these things, it's popular belief in Ghana that every house has a God in it. So if every house has a God in it, and most of the people that are in this community have turned away and followed Christianity and all of that, is there not certain curses and incurrence that comes after walking away? And he explained that our fathers, or the fathers of this town, some went as far as the northern regions of Ghana to conduct certain powers or authorities or being, and to go into covenants with them and bring them into their homes. And so what is actually happening is that because most of them didn't educate the people that follow them about what they brought into that, the powers they brought into that, and what they can do and how to service it, then it means what it means is that nobody is really fulfilling the duties or the rituals or the practices of these powers that are in the house. So in as much as they've turned away from spirituality and followed the church, the curses that these gods have incurred are still dominating and are still occurring, are still enforcing, and people are actually going through a lot of curses because the rite and the rituals that are supposed to be done onto these powers, onto these gods, are not being done. So this is where it's a bit tricky for me. The gods are in, the people have turned their backs on the gods, the curses are reoccurring or still occurring curses, and because once you turn your back, you cannot break a covenant. Once you break a covenant, it works against you. So since these covenants are working against